What makes this specialized canteen part, this Camelback, and this aircraft part unique isn't its high quality or that it's produced by a company that supplies Boeing, the Armed Forces, or NASA. And while it's true that these products are produced with incredible efficiency utilizing lean principles, that's not exactly unique either, since many other organizations also practice lean. What does make this situation unique is that the vast majority of the individuals who manufacture these products can't see, and in some cases, they can't see or hear. Welcome to the Lighthouse for the Blind. First, a bit of history. The Lighthouse for the Blind's early beginnings trace back to 1914 as a small organization helping the blind at a local level in Seattle, Washington. 4 years later, as many recently blinded veterans started returning home after World War I with little to no opportunities for employment, the Lighthouse for the Blind created an environment where they can earn a living making jigsaw puzzles and baskets by hand. Eventually, employees began assembling brooms by day and selling them door to door in the evenings. In time, the Lighthouse for the Blind entered the manufacturing arena and expanded its operations to Spokane, Washington, and Summerville, South Carolina. Today, the Lighthouse for the Blind employs nearly 500 individuals, more than 260 of whom are blind, deafblind, or blind with other disabilities. On a daily basis, these individuals manufacture aerospace parts, office products, and a myriad of other machine products for a variety of clients, including Boeing, a key customer that was instrumental in cementing the foundation for the Lighthouse for the Blind.
Yeah, so the company started in 1918 when soldiers were coming back, when they're blinded from the gas attacks and things, and the job prospects were pretty much zero. So the company started in 1918 giving jobs to blinded vets, and they were making brooms and puzzles and things.
Brooms was the big thing,
brooms.
wasn't it? Yeah.
And we have a picture in our main conference room of a gentleman making brooms on what looks like a big lathe with a big steam-powered machine, but winding, winding a broom together. So they went door to door and sold them.
Yeah.
So it started there, and then somewhere about 1951, the Boeing company, and Mrs. Boeing herself, said, well, instead of donating money, why don't we donate work, give them things to make? And we eventually started, just making small components, worked our way into actual sheet metal, and now we're doing aerospace machining, as well as anyone else in the market can make.
But don't let the fact that Boeing has long been a supporter of the Lighthouse for the Blind make you believe that they're partial to them. Everyone at the Lighthouse for the Blind has to work hard to earn the business they win. Make no mistake, in an ultra-competitive environment, serving the Department of Defense and even NASA, it's business as usual.
We have to win the business. There's other companies out there that we compete against.
Against sighted employees?
Against sighted employees. And there's some contracts that we win that are just open to anybody. Anybody can make them.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that Boeing has agreed that's like, we'll always send you this business, but these other nice things, you got to compete just like anyone else against price and on-time delivery.
While walking through the halls of the Lighthouse for the Blind, it doesn't take long to appreciate how continuous improvement plays an important role in the success of the organization. As you walk through the facility, you see examples of Andon at nearly all workstations. Shadow boards are everywhere, and the impact of 5S is impossible to miss. Let's learn how continuous improvement got started at the Lighthouse for the Blind and how they've adapted things along the way.
So it started, like I said, over 5 years ago. And as we know, as we come into a company, and it's oftentimes, it's PowerPoint and it's manual and it's hands-on training and those sorts of things. And that just wasn't going to work here when I've got all these blind employees. I can't just show them with some PowerPoint and hand them some time observation forms and say, go forth. It took a lot more individualized
Even
training.
making paper airplanes and flying them around like we did in training, right?
It's not going to work.
Right.
So I converted over to Legos. So
Okay.
I have a little Lego drone that we build, and they get a feel for one-piece flow. And then they said, well, now we're going to chart it in Excel. Well, they can't see Excel. So we started making Excel charts with Legos. And they said, well, now we don't have a way to braille it. So we started making braille with Legos. So everything we were doing, we just made tactile, and we were doing it with Legos because I can reuse them over and over and over again, and put them away in little bins. And people and they're all tactile. Everyone can feel them and touch them, and they can all be part of the same exercise that a sighted person is involved in. So we were doing cell layouts with Legos, and we were using little Lego people to represent where the operators would stand. So
3P
again,
with Legos, right?
yeah, exactly. So a blind person, instead of sitting off to the side saying I can't be involved in a layout design, are now in there going, well, no, I need to be over here, and that machine needs to be over here.
Yeah.
And they're moving it around with Legos instead of doing it with Visio and a lot of those visual tools that we're used to.
That's great.
So all of that, I just had to rethink everything that I was so used to doing for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And think about it differently and say, okay, well, now if I'm blind, how do I convert that? What can I use?
Right.
And I'm buying all kinds of crazy things on Amazon, and our purchasing department no longer asks why.
Now that we have a better understanding of the Lighthouse for the Blind's history and purpose, it's time to learn how this vision translates into reality through the power of accessibility. It's all coming up on our next segment when we talk to Ian Stensing, Accessibility Director at the Lighthouse for the Blind. If you'd like to watch this complete Gemba Academy Live series, please visit gembaacademy.com/lighthouse.